Hey, I'm Becca with the Happy Ever Crafter, and it has been a while since I've done one of these floral illustration videos, but they are highly requested. If you haven't seen, I have a whole playlist of other florals you can go and check out. But in this video, we're gonna be working through a Black-Eyed Susan. We're gonna do a top view and a side view. And all of these videos that I've ever made of these floral illustrations all also have step-by-step worksheets that are included in my Patreon community. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave the link in the comments down below. But for now, let's just jump right in and get started with this drawing. So the first thing I'm going to do is first we're gonna do the top view flower. So as if you're looking right down on the flower. And so we're just gonna start really, really basic with a circle in the middle and a circle for the perimeter of the flower. And if you want to just jump in with your pen, you absolutely can and not even draw these guidelines. I wouldn't draw that outside one in a pen, but you can draw the inside one in the pen if you want to. So that's the really, really basic start. And then we're gonna go ahead and put in the petals. So for the top down view, it's pretty simple. We're just gonna go through and add petals, and they don't have to be perfect. Like you can make them jagged around the edges, you can make them overlapping, you can make some of them longer than the circle, you can make some of them shorter than the circle. And if it helps to rotate your hand while you're doing this, you can also do that. Or sorry, rotate your paper as opposed to keeping your hand on that same angle the whole time. Again, making some shorter, some longer. And I like to put like these little notches in the end of some of them. Just makes them look a little more realistic. Okay. Really basic outline of the flower. I am going to jump in with my pens now though, and I'm going to use my 03 and I'm going to go over the center of this flower with a jagged edge, basically just going over that circle but with a little bit of like jaggediness to it because it wouldn't be a perfect circle in nature. And then I'm going to go through and add in little tiny circles in the whole thing. Just fill out that whole center with circles, and they don't have to be perfect circles, they can be messy. You're just trying to give it kind of like a density that'll make it look darker and more filled out and more textured. Pretty simple. Then I'm going to take that same pen and I'm going to go over kind of adding another layer of darkness in a circle shape, but so that the outside looks darker than the middle. So adding another layer of circles on top, but leaving the very center of the flower light. See how that adds just a little bit more depth and texture? And it makes the middle look like it's not quite as dense. Now I'm going to use that same 03 pen and I'm going to go over my petals to complete them. This time being a little more intentional about the shapes. As always, trying not to make them perfectly smooth. And some of them can just overlap too. They don't even all have to go all the way back to that middle. So there's my general outline of the flower. Now I'm going to take my 01 pen and I'm going to add in my detail lines. So to do this, you're going to start in the middle of the flower at the base of your petal and you're going to work your way up in sort of like flicking motions, curved lines. You don't want to do straight lines. Those are going to look really unnatural, but curved lines, and you can do them broken. You can kind of skip your pen a little bit and just add some detail lines in. And the more curved you make your lines, the more curved the petal is going to look. You can also bring some down from the top. So just add those all the way throughout all of your petals. Then I'm going to go back and take my 03, or if you have an even heavier one, you can do that too. And we're just going to add a little bit of contrast here and there. So where the petals meet at the stem, I like to add a little bit of overlap. I like the way it helps the petals to kind of pop off the page. There we go. And then the last step for this one is to add your stem. So I'm going to imagine, I can use a pencil to kind of show you the line. I'm going to imagine that it's kind of coming off to the side like this, or even actually a little bit more aggressively. So I'm going to skip it here and add it in just at the base of this flower, or petal, sorry. There we go. And there we have the top view of the Black-Eyed Susan. Okay, next let's do the side view as if you're looking at it like straight on like this, and it's so you're really only seeing kind of the sides. You're not seeing the very top of it. So for this one, we're gonna start with an oval instead of a circle. We're starting with an oval. And then we're gonna draw this kind of like bean shape that's extending out of the bottom of that oval. So that's like you're seeing the center of the flower, but now it's popping up instead of just being flat on. So this little center part is this little center part, and this part is the darker part around it. And then we're gonna draw another oval for the actual petals. It's gonna be kind of like irregular bean shape-ish. In general, like this. You can also have it sticking up more or less, whatever you want to do. Then we're going to draw in some petals. And so for this flower, we're going to do it in kind of stages because we want the ones that are here at the bottom to be the longest and the widest, the biggest, most noticeable petals. So we're going to make a big kind of juicy one here at the front. And then we're going to have two biggish ones overlapping with it. These ones look like the biggest, like closest to you petals. And then we're gonna go ahead and add some irregularly shaped, narrower, much shorter petals as if they're farther away from you in the background. They don't even have to be touching the first ones. We're just kind of adding them in, and they're irregular shapes. They're supposed to look like you're just seeing these kind of like folded over petals that are in the back. And you can kind of make them angle down here too, so that they look like they're folding at the back of the flower. And you can make them really narrow and really kind of like folding over. You can almost even, for some of them, you could make a little overlap so you can see the underside of the petal. Okay. So this one's a little more complicated in terms of drawing the petals, but I think once you kind of picture it, and you can even look up a picture of a Black-Eyed Susan from the side, and you'll see that they kind of overlap and fold down. The petals fold down. And lastly, for the petals on this one, I want to actually add in kind of a third layer, which is the ones that would be at the very back, folding totally over. So I want to make it look like we can kind of see them underneath these petals. So to do that, I'm just going to add some extra little ones back here and like in these overlappy spots. And they're not going to be super noticeable. They're just little lines. Then we're going to do what we did on our previous flower, which is add the circles on these parts. So we're going to start with the bigger part here and add our circles. And for this one, I want the circles to be far bigger and farther apart here and get narrower and tighter together as we move towards the corners. So I'm going to start with this front section here with some bigger circles. And then as we move into the corners, they get smaller and tighter together. And that'll give the illusion of that getting farther away from us. Okay, now we're gonna do this little shape that is like, it's kind of like a P, like the letter P, but in different directions and different heights. So these little tiny stems, and we're gonna do those all around the edge of this flower. So we can start here and just doing different shapes and different levels, and they can overlap with each other. They don't have to be standalone. And we're gonna take them off of the edge of this whole circle, this whole oval. And then to finish off this center part, we're gonna do bigger circles inside the oval. And now you might notice we've kind of lost our edge here of that circle, or the lower oval part. So we're just gonna kind of add a little bit of a detail line in there. And we can kind of do a light one around the back too. So now it really looks like this part's darker, this part's lighter, and we've got our P shapes helping it pop off the page. Okay, the next step, we're going to use our pen to go over our petals and finalize our petals. So go ahead and do that part. And then we'll do the same thing we did here with our detail lines using our 0-1. So coming out from the middle. And again, this time we're gonna really remember that the more curved our lines are, the more curved that petal is going to look. So for example, I want this petal to look really curved. So I'm going to curve those lines significantly. And now it's going to look like it's curving down. Okay, and now we're going to go to the ones that are underneath and add significantly more detail lines to them to make them look quite a bit darker under there. There's only a few of them, so. And then same thing in those edges where the petals meet. You could use your heavier pen for this. I'm just going to take advantage of this already being in my hand and kind of just add in some contrast again in those spots where the petals meet the center. Lastly, grabbing our 03 again and adding a stem. This time I'm just going to do it straight, well, slightly curved, but mostly straight. And there you have it, your Black Eyed Susan top view and side view. Again, I have worksheets for this in my Patreon community. It's a whole workbook of a whole bunch of different flowers, all broken down in this exact same way. So if you're interested in that, you can go and check it out. Join the community. We do a lot of crafty stuff like this all the time in there, and I think you would love it. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm gonna link you to another step-by-step floral video because I think you're gonna like it, and I hope to see you over there.